Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, and may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, his family, and his companions. In our last episode, we explored two pivotal moments in Islamic history: the triumph at Khaybar and the peaceful conquest of Mecca, a turning point that opened the heart of Arabia to Islam. Previously, we explored the conquest of Mecca, a moment that changed Arabia forever. Yet the years that followed tested the Ummah with new trials, new lessons, and new victories. In today's episode, we will not only recount the Battle of Hunayn, the expedition to Tabuk, and the Farewell Hajj, but also pause to reflect on the human stories, the sacrifices of the companions, and the spiritual guidance embedded within these historic events. But history does not pause. New challenges arose immediately after Mecca's opening. Today, we journey through three decisive events: the Battle of Hunayn, the expedition to Tabuk, and the Prophet's final pilgrimage, the Farewell Hajj. Together, these moments highlight the Prophet's unmatched leadership, the trials faced by the believers, and the completion of his divine mission. The Battle of Hunayn, 15 minutes. After the conquest of Mecca, tribes across Arabia flocked to Islam. Some accepted sincerely, others followed due to shifting power. Yet two powerful tribes, Hawazin and Thaqif, feared losing their influence and dominance. To resist, they mobilized an army of nearly 20,000 warriors. Their goal: strike the Muslims swiftly before their own position weakened. The Muslim army. The Prophet marched with 12,000 companions, the largest Muslim force yet. Some companions felt pride in their numbers. They said, "We cannot be defeated today by our numbers." But Allah willed to teach them a lesson. Victory does not come from numbers, but from His support. At the Valley of Hunayn, the Muslims walked into a trap. Hidden warriors ambushed them from the cliffs, raining arrows and launching sudden attacks. Panic spread. Many fled in confusion, but amidst the chaos, the Prophet stood firm. Mounted on his mule, he advanced into the enemy ranks, proclaiming with unshakable courage, "I am the Prophet, this is no lie. I am the son of Abdul Muttalib." His bravery became the rallying cry. Slowly, companions regrouped, among them Abu Bakr, Umar, and Al-Abbas. Allah sent tranquility upon their hearts, and the tide of battle turned. What began as near defeat ended in decisive victory. The spoils of Hunayn were immense: thousands of camels, sheep, and valuables. The Prophet distributed them with wisdom. He gave generously to new Muslims like Abu Sufyan and others to strengthen their faith. Some longtime companions questioned this, but the Prophet reminded them, "Are you not content that others take wealth while you take back the Prophet of Allah with you?" Their hearts softened. The emotional landscape: the Muslims had just conquered Mecca. Spirits were high, but beneath the surface, challenges brewed. Many recent converts had yet to fully embrace Islam. Some were still attached to tribal pride, wealth, and old rivalries. Hunayn became their test. When the Hawazin and Thaqif attacked with overwhelming force, even seasoned warriors faltered. Imagine the fear as arrows darkened the sky, the cries of confusion, and the Prophet standing firm amidst the chaos. His courage became the anchor in a storm of fear. The turning point: Al-Abbas, the Prophet's uncle, called out with his booming voice, "O companions of the tree, O people of Bayat al-Ridwan," reminding them of their oath under the tree at Hudaybiyah. These words rekindled faith. Slowly, the Muslims regrouped, and the battle turned in their favor. The spoils were vast. Some companions felt uneasy that the Prophet gave much of it to new Muslims. But this was his vision: to win not just battles, but hearts. This teaches us a timeless lesson. Leadership isn't about pleasing everyone, but about guiding a community with wisdom for long-term unity. Reliance must be on Allah, never on numbers. Courageous leadership inspires hope even in despair. The Prophet's generosity united hearts, building an Ummah bound by faith, not material gain. The expedition to Tabuk, in the 9th year after Hijrah, Rumors spread that the Byzantine Empire, the global superpower of the time, was preparing to invade northern Arabia. Instead of waiting, the Prophet called for a preemptive march towards Tabuk, near the Syrian border. This journey became known as Ghazu Tabuk, the expedition of difficulty. It was midsummer, with scorching heat, long distances, and severe shortages of food and water. Sacrifice was the defining test. Abu Bakr gave all his wealth. Umar gave half. Uthman equipped hundreds of soldiers with camels and provisions. Yet hypocrites mocked and made excuses, refusing to march. The sincere, however, pressed forward, their faith tested by hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. At Tabuk, when the Muslim army finally reached Tabuk, no Byzantine army appeared. Historians say the Byzantines, fearing the Muslims' strength, never advanced. Instead, local tribes signed treaties, pledging allegiance and tribute. Without battle, Muslim influence expanded into northern Arabia. The hardest march Tabuk was unlike any previous campaign. The blazing heat burned skin, water was scarce, and the journey seemed endless. Companions shared sips of water, sometimes one camel between 10 men. Some even wept because they could not afford transport to join the march. The Qur'an immortalizes this moment. Nor is there blame upon those who came to you that you might carry them. But you said, I can find nothing for you to ride upon. They turned away with their eyes overflowing with tears, out of grief that they could not find something to spend. Qur'an 992, stories of sacrifice. Abu Bakr bringing everything he owned. Umar bringing half, still thinking it might surpass Abu Bakr. Uthman's generosity funding an army when others had nothing. Each story shows that sacrifice isn't measured by amount, but by sincerity. At Tabuk, no Byzantine army appeared, but the journey itself separated truth from falsehood. The hypocrites who mocked and stayed behind exposed themselves. Treaties signed at Tabuk expanded Muslim influence without battle. Sometimes victory lies not in swords, but in endurance and obedience. It was not a campaign of fighting, but of obedience and sacrifice. It distinguished the hypocrites from the sincere. It proved that Islam was now a recognized power, feared and respected by empires. The Farewell Hajj, in the 10th year after Hijrah, the Prophet announced his intention to perform Hajj. For the first and only time after migration, he would lead the pilgrimage. More than 100,000 Muslims gathered, eager to witness and learn the journey and rituals step by step. The Prophet performed and taught every rite of Hajj, declaring, "Take from me your rites of Hajj, for I do not know if I will perform Hajj after this year." This statement hinted that his mission was nearing completion. The farewell sermon on the plain of Arafah. Beneath the scorching sun, the Prophet delivered the most powerful address of his life. His words were not just for Muslims of his time, but for all humanity. Sanctity of life, property and honor. Your blood, your property and your honor are sacred, like the sanctity of this day and this place. Equality of mankind. No Arab has superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab over an Arab, nor a white over a black. Except in taqwa, end of ignorance, usury was abolished, tribal pride ended. Rights of women, he urged kindness, responsibility, and fairness in marriage. Final guidance, I leave behind two things. If you hold fast to them, you will never go astray, the Book of Allah and my Sunnah. The revelation, during this Hajj, Allah revealed a monumental verse. This day I have perfected for you your religion, completed my favor upon you, and chosen Islam as your way. Qur'an 5:3. This marked the divine completion of Islam as a way of life. The lessons of these three events remain eternal. Hunayn teaches us that numbers and strength mean nothing without reliance on Allah. Tabuk teaches that sacrifice and sincerity separate the true believer from the hypocrite. The Farewell Hajj summarizes the Prophet's mission: mercy, justice, equality, and unwavering devotion to Allah, and so the Prophet's mission neared completion. In our next and final episode, we will cover his last days, his illness, his advice to the Ummah, and his return to the mercy of his Lord.